Yes. Take this down, man. What is going on? Let's make sure YouTube is going. All right, 10 foot tall and bulletproof. Hope everybody's having a good weekend. Tomorrow, actually, truth is, kind of starts a little earlier than that. Around 5 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock Central Time, my time. Wherever you're at, it is what it is. We start chaos. Every little tweet, every comment from anybody famous in government, tied politically, could be related to a war, man. Could be Putin. Maybe Putin decides to drop a death tweet tomorrow. Bam. Rocks the market. Maybe OPEC or Saudi Arabia. Fuck it, let's stop pumping. Think about that. That's all it takes tomorrow to cause chaos. Now, most people won't know the chaos is happening. It'll take a minute. See, they don't watch this right here. A lot of people are held captive to the news, right? Meaning they're seeing it after the fact. So let me let you in on a little something. You can be sitting at your computer or looking at your phone. Let's say you're a stock trader. And out of the blue, the price of oil drops 7%. Bam! Just like that. You're like, oh shit, let me check the news. You already lived the event. But not other people. They're oblivious. Other people get told the event after the fact. They're not watching this. You say, what is this? The flow of money, man. Money flows around the world, whether you engage in it or not. I was talking with a lady last night, owns an art dealership here in New Orleans. And they said, oh, me and my husband are terrible at money. Really? You're terrible at money, huh? In other words, she doesn't know about the RSI right here. She doesn't know when that goes green on a computer screen, on a thing we call charts, that some shit's happening in the world. Something's happening. Now, what's typically happening then is what she doesn't know and what most people don't know because they're oblivious. They walk through life, blinders on. They don't know that money's moving around. They don't know there's 20 products in their house they could make them rich, but they don't have time to think about it. Thinking about other things, Gerald. Lolly fucking da, going through my day. We're not good with money, is what she told me. I was like, you don't like money? No, we like money. We like to spend it. I'm like, oh. Okay, so that money goes to other people. And there are people that when they get that money, they know about this. They know about these games. They know about the money flow that's happening all around them, all over the world. Right now, money's being transferred, wires, crypto, cents, PayPal, Ethereum, Bitcoin, all kinds of money, all over the world. Just going back and forth, and we're just sitting here. There's all kinds of money, all kinds of... Keep your tickers to yourself, sir. I'm trying to explain to you the money flow. And price moves. And you'll see it move in these patterns. Now, when I say patterns, a lot of people, they're too young to understand what I'm saying. Meaning they're not in the right place right now in life. Their brain's not wired to understand the money flow, man. They don't get it. And then you got someone like me, and I've been watching the money flow for 20 years. Every fucking day. So when your dad wasn't watching it, I'm over here doing this. Let me get a few shares. You fast forward a couple decades, and you have skills like that. So instead of being the lady who looked right at me and said, we're not good with money, what if you said, oh yeah, we're really good with money. I like to take that shit and double it and triple it all the fucking time, dude. What do you mean? Had a girl once ask me, is there ever a time where you don't have to do that? And I'm like, what? Double money? Why would that be the activity you quit? It makes me laugh, man. You're like, what do you mean? Meaning, man, once you figure out what I learned, Let me back this up, man. This is so deep, your little brain can't even comprehend what I'm talking about right now. I'm talking about a new way of living, man. A new way of seeing the world and the news and everything around you. When a news event happens, when a war starts, when fucking drought hits the Northeast, when wheat country is blasted with rain and it causes blout and infection, and you're like, what does that have to do with me? I'm an Amazon driver. And it's like it has a ripple effect, bro. It starts to ripple through the economy. And so you could have something as simple as, well, housing. And you're saying, Gerald, what does this have to do with stocks? Everything. Everything to do with stocks, man. And so that lady said, well, I'm not good with money. Good. You don't get any. Good. Be broke. That's your choice. What I began to discover is that price moved and it would flow and it would go too high, and sometimes it would then go too low. And in this pendulum swing, it would move from left to right. Now, this was just a big picture. You say, are you a Christian? And they say, yeah. You say, what does that mean? Oh, it means we believe in Jesus. Oh, well, what if you're a Buddhist? Well, that means this. Well, what if you're Mormon? Well, that means this. Well, what if you're in the money flow? Well, that means price goes from left to right over time, moving higher. The cost of land, lumber, the price of Home Depot, your insurance, the cost of crackers and beer and steak. And these things creep higher over time due to inflation. Housing prices go up 4 to 5% a year on average, but they don't do the average. They go way too high and then way too low and then way too high and then way too low. And so the person that says, well, I'm not good with money. I'm so good with money, I'm watching the cycle, man. Me, I'm not good with money. Why would someone say that? It's the elixir of life. It's what's going to pay for your car and your health insurance and your kids to go to college. Like, I didn't know we get to opt out on that, but apparently about 93% of America thinks we get to just fucking opt out. I'm not participating. And there's another group that's different. And they realize, man, you know what? You come over here and you type in Lumber, lumber, and you click that button. You can go to Home Depot and you can talk about the lumber prices, but they don't know the price. People regurgitate shit they hear in the news like little lambs being led around to the slaughter, man. Oh, don't you think the market's going to go down? You don't know where the market's going. You're watching the news. It's after the fact, man. Once you understand charts and the randomness of nature of prices and that fear and greed is what moves the markets, sometimes people ask me, why do you think that stock went down? Because they sold it. I mean, what other reason is there? Oh, you think there's some other thing? Well, if I know it, if I know what it was, if I knew that it was they missed earnings by 3%, and it's like, well, what does that mean, bro? What does that mean? You missed earnings by 3%. Like, you're going to make some kind of fucking logic out of that? And you're going to build a sustainable investing strategy over how many percent? Something like, oh, well, they missed earnings by 10 cents. What does that mean, man? 10 cents don't sound like a lot to me. What if I said to you, hey, you're short 10 cents? You would just, well, fuck, hold on. Here's 10 cents. Okay, you're not out of business. Meaning the price goes up and down through what's called the business cycle. Now, I tried to prepare people for this in my first ebook, and I gave it to people free. And I said, listen, you want to play on this money flow game here? Right? You want to play on this game? Look at ENVX. This is one we bought, man. And you're like, what do you mean? I mean, bro, I document it, man. You can come over here. I don't know what other people are doing, okay? I'm sure they're doing things. Now, see right here on 8/11, trimming ENVX up 110%. Now, I didn't know it was going to go 110%. I don't know that. I don't know how high it's going to go. But here's what I know. As I watch this pattern and I lay it, and they're like, what kind of filters do you run? I don't need to run a filter. I'm watching stocks, man. Don't mean you can't run one, But here's something you can do. You can just watch them. Now look at that movement. Price is below the 20. Price is what? Going below the 20. And if this was a crayon and we're just marking, we're filling it in, right? And then over here we're filling it in, right? You see what I see? And if you look at that, now I just marked it all up. But it's this, man. And it's so taken for granted. I show kids this. They sleep on this. It's so stupid. It's so stupid. People sleep on this. This right here could accumulate them so much wealth. And they put their attention on everything else. This here. If your grandfather just knew this and followed Coca-Cola his whole life, that's just one of 500 stocks probably. And he's just like, man, I'm just going to pick up some on these levels. And I might trim some up here, depending on the value of the stock. We ain't got there. And he just follows it through life, man. He just follows it through life. And that's this pattern here. So what I'm waiting for, I'm sure you've heard of this, be greedy when other people are fearful and fearful when other people are greedy. Well, how do you do that? You can't do that if you listen to the news. And they're like, oh my God, there's going to be a housing crisis. You don't know that. People can guess at that. They can play around with each other, put up stupid facts and stuff. But we can also just step back, see the big picture. Where's it going? Up. I don't care where you live. In 10 years, housing prices are higher. Maybe not next week, maybe not next month, maybe not for the next 2 years. And you could say, but the person who said, I'm not good with money, says they thought the market was coming down. Okay. Maybe it is. But if you're not good with money, what good is it for you? Okay, they come down. If you don't know how to buy lows, right? If you don't have some sort of strategy or systematic system, what are you going to do? Call up somebody on the phone and go, hey, give me $1 million of this? No, meaning you have to have tools. You have to have information. You have to have this. In the book, I describe this as an ongoing feedback loop. What do you mean, Gerald? Each one of these days is a data point, man. I don't need to know why. And you say, why did they sell that? Why did it fall so far? I don't know. I know what I think I know right here. If you ever studied candlesticks, I wouldn't put a lot of time into this, but if you think it's interesting, it's probably better than watching the Kardashians or something. You can go study candlesticks. I don't use candles, I use bars. These are bars. Some people use candles. Candles look like candles. Bars look like bars. It's not that complicated, okay? And each day are based on the time frame. This is a daily chart. Each day I get one new data set, one new point. And so like a scientist, I'm just looking at my experiment that every day gives me data. And so every day they're like, here, it opened here, it went here, boo, boo, boo. Here you go. Here, use it. People are like, no, man, I'm too busy, man. So busy with work, I can't fucking look, Gerald. My eyes, they can't connect to the white screen. I can't see it today. I don't feel well. But if we watch every day, stalking it, what I discovered is, oh, look, let's see. Look right here. Life worth living is a life worth documenting. 7/14, July 14th. Hey, and I put the bad shit too. The ones I mess up on, they're documented right here. You're like, look at that dummy. He bought that and it went down. I know. 7/14/22, adding to penny stocks, APTO, BNGO, SOXL, which is not a penny stock, by the way, ENVX. Now, why would we've added to ENVX? What was the day? 14th. Let's find that day, man. Now, why would I do that? Because, well, this stock, if we pull up over here, ENVX Corporation, it's a growth stock now, okay? According to Morningstar, and you're like, what is this? It's kind of like the realtor of stocks. It's kind of like the Kelley Blue Book of cars. And you say, well, how much do you think a stock's worth? Sometimes people ask me, what do you think about this stock? The only way to give you an actual assessment is you got to go kind of dig into their books, bro. What you're asking is fucking hours of research and work, man. Unless I just happen to know the stock. So we can only happen to know so many. Now we can learn tips and tricks to that, to hack that, such as learning about sectors, learning all the different telecom stocks, and they're in the communication ETF, right? And we can learn these little things, which will help us disseminate information faster. So as you go through it, putting in reps every day, following the money flow of what? The stock market. Price is going up, price is going down. Fear and greed. Could be a tweet, could be the weather, could be nothing, could just be some big fund started buying. You're like, why is it going up? I don't know. Doesn't matter. People are buying it. So stocks go up because people buy them, and stocks go down because people sell them. Simple as that, man. Fair value of this stock is $27. That means if you were going to write a check for this entire company, it's worth $27. Where did the stock top out at? Where did it stop going up? Around $27. So if you had bought something to flip on eBay and you got it for a lot cheaper, and then it hit the value, let's say you were flipping houses. This is not complicated. People make stocks so complicated. If you have a way of valuing a company, then you can use reason and logic and say, okay, this is overvalued, this is undervalued, okay? Now let me give you a shortcut or a hack or a trick. Everybody always wants a hack, just as a general fucking rule. 916, cursing. This line here, it's called the 200-day moving average. Institutions follow this mostly, okay? And you get a lot of retail traders that make some big deal out of the 50 crossing the 20. Death cross. Oh my God, it's death cross. All right, whatever. The money flow will, long before the death cross, get you on that side, and it'll have you on the other side. So if we were kids with crayons right now, and we're looking at this, ENVX, the pattern that's set up here was price sold off, right? There's our magic cross. This ain't necessarily a bad thing. Is that a bad thing? People are like, oh my God, it's going down. Okay. But that didn't really mean anything over here. Right? You didn't need to sell here to capitalize here. This just was what it was. You're like, what do you mean? Look, came down here. I mean, was this one bad? You're like, oh my God. Was that stage 4 bad? And that's what it is, man. And maybe it is. It depends on your time frame and what you're doing. So what is that movement? Meaning price is on this side of the green line. That green line is the 20-day moving average. And what it does, man, the stock market's full of little hacks. People always want a hack or shortcut. This is your filter, man. They're giving you a visual price. And you can look at it. It's above the line or below it. And there's people that need more than that. They're so greedy. Like, it's like, oh, I can't be bothered to look at that. Is there an easier way than me just looking? And I began to think, no, I can just look, man. And so I could follow this company. It's an innovative company. Came across it through some reading. I don't remember where I came across it. I read it. I'm like, cool. I can only put my attention on so many companies, guys. Meaning I can't watch all 9,000 stocks, okay? And so what I've done is just try to find my lane, fit in, and get in. I mean, I don't have to do what everybody else is doing. Because there's an article about a kid at Turn 20. Oh, he made $100 million trading Bed Bath & Beyond. And some people read that and get inspired. Oh my God. Is that what it takes, man? Is that, if that's it, I guess that's it, man. Who am I to judge? And guess what? It's true. He did make $100 million. But guess what? He started with 20 million. They gave him 20 million. I know people get afraid trading 30 grand. What the fuck are they going to do with $20 million? Think about that. If you woke up tomorrow and I gave you $20 million and I said, hey, I need you to run it. Dude, you don't need a job. You got 20 mil? You got 20 million in the stock market? Do you think you could make any money? No, honestly. I mean, if you can't turn 5 into 10, what are you going to do with 20 million? If you can't turn 5 into 10, what are you going to do with 20 million? You're just going to lose a lot. That's it, man. And guess what? That balance is going to go up and down. And if you freak out with your little 30, I see people go into a panic mode with 30 grand. I don't know what they do when they had millions. They're not. They're never going to get millions. They can't handle 30 grand. If you can't handle 30, you don't get millions. Just PS and by the way. So what I began to do is I would watch price, man. That's a philosophical view. You better get philosophical about this. That young lady that DM'd me and goes, is there ever enough's enough where you don't have to think about investing or managing? I'm like, if you knew how stupid your question is. No, dude, it's not me doing anything. What effort does it take for me to have $20,000 invested into a REIT or a fund and it throws me off money? That's not a big, to get the money into it is a thing, right? And maybe that's her intent of her question was that, maybe the intent of the question is there a day where I don't need to save? Sure. Yeah, when you got enough, tap out. I mean, why are you asking me? I don't know how much is enough for you. I don't know what, I don't know, man. I don't know what is your number, man. But if I watch this and I know this is a valuable company, they're doing cool shit, and I'm watching, say, 50, 60, 70 of these companies, when this sets up, man, with this price pattern that I noticed that prices move through the business cycle. They raise interest rates, they lower interest rates. I wrote about this in my book. You have international issues, you have sicknesses and political unrest, and that's called chaos, man. And the market every day wakes up in total chaos, and contrary to popular belief, nobody knows where it's going. So when people tell you they know where it's going, it's like, really? Really? You think so? Would you put all your grandmother's money on that? Or are you just talking? And you got to be careful, because as you just talk, it affects your opinion and your view of the market. And some people have really horrifically, really not very bright views, meaning they don't know. And they, on one hand, they look at it and say, well, I'm not good with money. On the other hand, they form hardcore philosophical beliefs of where markets are going. And it's like, whoa. You see how destructive that could be to life, man. You could just float through. Got your nice little house, little car. You pretend you got the trappings. You look sort of like you know about money, but it's all on payments. There is no wealth. You know when you have wealth? When your money makes money. Real fucking money. You wake up and you made thousands of dollars and you did nothing. No physical labor. You called no one. You picked no foot. Man, when you do that, these charts can help you do that. These are hacks. When price gets below this gold line, you don't even need to know what it is. But by the way, it's the 200-day moving average. It's an institutional thing. As a general rule, not always, but as a general rule, when price is trading below this, it's considered below value, or you probably institutionally below fair value. And you say, come on, Gerald. Okay. They showed you the value of this stock is $27, right? Okay, so fluctuating between 27 and 16 is no big deal. That's common range of movement. If you go look at the 52-week moving average of Apple or AT&T or Home Depot over 52 weeks, they have a high and they have a low. And that number changes every day. Meaning every day, if you said, what's the 52-week low? That's 1 year, man. 52 weeks in a year, right? You know, a lot of people take half of them off. Imagine if they did that half. Imagine they took all the money from the one half, put it into this half, and then they spent half their day doing this. That'd be fucking great. So as you watch this, and you're watching for a pattern, and you got real serious about it, you begin to read and study, and you're looking at this company, and you're running it. If you want to use some filters, run this shit through Morningstar, tip ranks, and you're like, how many should I check? I don't know. How much is it worth to you? I don't know how much money you're pushing. You're doing $100 trades. I don't think you get that deep down in the weeds on buying opinions or values, or I don't know how much that means to you, right? Some people, it's just free shit. Okay, well, it was on Reddit. I'm gonna go with that. They had it on Redfin. Let's go with that. The house crisis coming. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, they're just picking that shit up off stuff that's posted free. That's not research, by the way. Reading CNBC is not research. That gets you going. But then you become the scientist and you lay it over this, right? You start looking at earnings, you go check into some of their products, you click on the website, see who's running, what's going on. Is it possible? Could this go here to here? What's the value? The more and more you do that, inside of the big picture, that 70% of the time, stocks go up, man. And so if we get on the right side of this business cycle, and what I'm looking for is this pattern to set up. And I'm laying this over the whole market. You're like, what do you mean? Meaning there's another layer on the trade, the S&P 500. So if on this day, oh my God, man. You shouldn't even be allowed to do this, to be honest. 13th, there's the 14th, right there. I was actually late a day. So disappointed in myself. This day right here. Now you could put your attention on other things. You could have problems over here. You can spend a lot of time doing that. Sit in here. My new ebook, The Two Selves, section entitled Chaos to Cash. Success is always organized chaos. There's nothing more chaotic than the stock market, by the way. The world, man, your relationship, the drama in your house ain't got shit on the drama in the stock market. Every day we wake up to a shit show. Every day there's some crying, some belly aching, some whining, some margin busting out, some options buying, some shorting. It's chaos every day, and everyone's got an opinion, and everyone thinks theirs is super important. Or they don't. And they secretly don't want to tell you that, and they're scareful, and they're like, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. I have no idea. Ray Dalio's a billionaire. What's Elon doing? Right? And there could be some validity to that. I'm not knocking that. I'm not knocking. Billionaires are smart people, man. If you look over and he's buying farmland, maybe there's a reason. And you could go take that information. You don't run out and buy farmland because Bill Gates is buying farmland, but you could go, why is he doing that? Now you have to think it could be a bigger picture. He's got a lot of money. And you're like, when you got 100 billion, you might spread it out a little more than a guy that's got 30,000. And you're like, yeah, well, farmland gets 6% a year. Why not just buy apartments? Why not just buy all apartments? Like, no, man, he's going to buy some of this, some of that, some of this, some of that. So we can't necessarily read too much into it, but it could be something. Maybe they see something. And then we could go, well, what stocks own that? These things don't happen contrary to popular belief, it doesn't happen 42 seconds after a tweet. Shit takes years. We've been dealing with COVID now for years. Bull markets can take 3-4 years to run their course, and then bear markets can last up to 18 months. You're going to have some big days, and then you're going to have rallies into that, and it comes back up. It's chaos, man. It's chaos. Success is always organized chaos. The world and the universe are perfectly balanced. The planets never collide with each other, and the roots of the trees are always long enough to stabilize the trunk. The sun never gets too close to the earth, and the rivers and streams always lead into the lakes or the sea. There's order. So one of the things I did with the money flow is I began to look, what indicators could add order to this shit? Well, one, true value of the stock we know is $27. Okay? Well, this thing goes from $9 on the 14th. There's our thing. Next day is what I call a stage 2 breakout. And if I look left, the pattern is set up perfect. Now, what's the value of this thing? What is it worth? Well, Morningstar said $27. We could scan that against Yahoo, Zacks, The Street, right? There's all kinds of these services you could buy, give them, pay them. They'll tell you their opinion. And it's just from the books. And guess what? Price respects it, but it swings in a pendulum way too high and then way too low. And so do you. It's the bipolar nature of the universe, man. High tide, low tide, love and hate. Everything swings too far, things get too crazy, and then they stop, and then they get too boring. And we're trying to find that perfect balance of harmony and happiness, and it's impossible. Because as soon as you get there, you wish you were somewhere else, man. And price gets to true value, and it's like, why own it now? Who's going to buy it here? And just the very nature that it's gone from $8, $7 to $25, and you're up hundreds of percent, right? Think on that. What does that mean? And we have a little indicator here that'll tell you. And these are just movements of emotion, man. Price goes too high, price goes too low. And that has no arbitrary effect on value. Look, price goes too low. And you see, it's not perfect because look, you had some fake breakouts. And if you notice, price just went sideways. But inside of sideways, during those days, you're like, that was a stage 2 breakout, stage 2 breakout, stage 2 breakout. And somehow, this is where it gets a little bit deeper. It takes a little bit more study, and you have to get intuitive, and you have to spend times with the charts, and you have to like this, and look. And then how soon can you realize that you're being whipsawed? Maybe this stage isn't trustable. Or at the very least, we know this is the possibility, right? So that could affect stop losses, which are protection for short-term traders. So the shorter we take this window in, the more we have to preserve capital because it can move against us, right? And so if you're in the nature of flipping, you got to be in and out. You got to set targets, and you got to have profit targets. And all that's going to happen inside of the stage 2, man, of price movement. And if you were to ask me, you're like, Gerald, what do you think? It's good. This is possibly a stage 3. It's not a stage 4 yet. You're like, yeah, but you could bail on it. You could. You know what happens when you do that? You miss the 5,000% run. I've called a lot of those. Not a lot, but meaning this isn't, stock isn't going down. It went too fucking high, dude. And we account for this by taking it off, man. We hit previous high, took some off. What does that allow me to do now? With confidence and courage to let it run. Not scared, not confused. And then when I get that beautifully placed right out of every trading textbook that was ever written on the subject of candlesticks is a reversal candle. Look right at it, look at 80,000 RSI. A perfect textbook reversal candle with an RSI. And you don't know that if you're not good with money. Lady, look right at me. I'm not good with money. Really? Okay. Good. Give it to me. You will ultimately. Well, you guys that ain't good with money, you'll give it all away. Fractals, never-ending pattern. Fractals are infinitely complex patterns that are self-similar across different scales. This is a daily. A lot of times people meet me. First thing they say to me, they don't want to know what I know, man. Their brain's too mushed up. They got their own opinions, man. They're not trying to hear what I'm saying. I'm trying to show them how to get rich. Like millions of dollars, and I don't, go to work if I want to. That's what I'm trying to show them. And sometimes their brain's so clouded with life and things and all these fucking filters, and they're not trying to hear what I'm saying. They're wanting me to agree with what they're saying. So they miss it, man. They miss it. Fractals, never-ending pattern. Fractals are infinitely complex patterns that are self-similar across different scales. They are created by repeating a simple process over and over again in an ongoing feedback loop. Driven by recursion, fractals are images of dynamic systems. That's what this is. This is the ongoing feedback loop. Every day, like a little scientist, you get an open, you get a close, you get a high, and you get a low. And we get to add it to the ones we already have. And we don't know what it is. If we knew for a second, I'd be a multi-billionaire. I can guess. And there's guys. I was my buddy Simon and Ashton and the day trade professor. I was on live with them. We've been taking gains here. They're preparing to go short here. That's why it's a market. I don't do that. I don't need to go short. I took shares off. Meaning I'm doing that synthetically. Yes, making money, I'm right. Take it down because the trade's now more risky. So I want to sell into strength. Okay, just different ways of seeing the market. No, nobody's right or wrong. And maybe they're more effective at their strategy. Maybe you need to go follow it. And if you got the attention to do that and can stick with it, got personal discipline, then maybe you can make something happen of that. But when you can't, you ain't got no money. So if you ain't got no money because you give it all away, like my friend said, well, we're not good with money, then you don't get to do this. And what if you get to do this with $9,000? I have a guy, talking to yesterday, $10,000 changed his whole problem. Well, ENVX here, what if he'd have bought $9,000? That's not inconceivable, guys. I got friends taking $50,000, $70,000 trades, and they got 30 of them going. Well, the only way to do that is make money, keep it, and put it into this, man. But if you play this like small all the time, your whole life, you just chump change it, then guess what? That's what's going to happen. But what if you can put money into you? And I'm not saying go out and trade like a lunatic. And there's a learning process, and you start small for certain. I'm saying, but what if once you put in the year, looking at the charts, following the markets, taking in the news, like you do it like you're supposed to. But I'm telling you, man, 90% of the people I show it to get distracted by life. And if the market goes the other way, they just when they should be putting in the most, they stop. And at 9,000, when it was at 9,000, they were sad because one time it was over here. And we trimmed it at 30. And all it did was give you a chance to do it again. And it just keeps on doing it. And the market just keeps giving it to you, man. Keeps giving it to you. And all you got to find is your way of playing. But you got to spend some time with it, man. This runs to true value. And we have indicators and tools that let us know when that's gone too high. And so I sell into strength. Part of the money flow is I believe price moves in 4 stages. Stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, stage 4. A lot of people DM me the wrong stage. That always makes me want to cry. And over this is laid the 20-day moving average, just to help us. So it's a line that's laid, usually something like that, right? And as you look at it, and this came to me one day playing blackjack, and I had 7 years of trading experience. I had a buy and hold. I owned 8 rental properties. I had read 400 books. See, when I first got into this game, there was no YouTube videos to watch. Man, that shit was just coming out. It was expensive, man. What it was books, man. You'd watch infomercials. You'd watch infomercials and read books on this, and I'd read them for fucking hours. That's what I spend my time doing. So when that lady says, well, I'm not good with money, I decided to become excellent with it and to live a life structured around a philosophy. Matter of fact, that's why I'm getting up tomorrow, to get some money and keep it. That's my reason. And the moment you do that, man, you start learning this stuff. Come on, man. And then you learn to diversify it, put it into different assets to protect yourself from you. You might think you have it right, and you can still mess up. Our world goes against you. There's black swans. Now we got to throw that into the mix. You're like, what's a black swan? Meaning you wake up, market's down 20%, you're fucking blown out. That can happen. If you're leveraged, right? If you're not leveraged, it's just a really bad day. And guess what? You probably should be back to betting on you. But you can't do that if you're not good with money. You can't do that when you give all your money away. You damn sure can't do that when you spend half your time not even at work, man. So don't think that doesn't affect trading here, man. Because my buddy that I was coaching yesterday, $10,000 changed his life. Well, $9,000 in VX became $26,000. He just popped that out, fix his problem, next day go back to put money in his account. That's called the roll-up, man. I watched a guy do that on a trade. 2 trades. He did one, did pretty good. Next one, hit it out of the park. He's got other trades going, but these just worked out great. Takes that money, adds it to a little bit of money he already had, buys a 4-plex. Bam, bam, bam. Go back 3 months, he ain't got the money. Catches a nice one, turns 5 into like 12, right? Turns that, boom, boom, bada bing. Knows what to do with it, man. That's just a series of decisions, living a certain way, having a philosophy, and not saying, oh, I'm not good with money. Instead, they're like, oh, no, I'm a student of this shit, man. And you begin to combine life, like getting your life in line with the money flow, like getting your life in line with investing. And man, come on, man. Come on, man. Anyway. This yellow line carries a lot of magic inside of the world of stock trading. It's this mystical thing that hangs out there like Fibonacci ratios. Gerald, it was a 66% retracement. Did you see that perfectly beautiful retracement? It was a bear wedge. It was a triangle. Did you see the triangle? Yeah. Okay. Whatever. I'm watching this. This here. Now, when I say that, people think I'm like no, man, I'm protecting me. What do you mean? Meaning I have a strategy, man. I'm not looking at any shit to it, okay? Works just fine. Catches all the market movements, right? And I just do it around my little old philosophy. Now, inside of a stage 3, like my friend Ashton and Simon, they were going short. Well, I understand that because they're operating at a lower time frame. So if we looked at Amazon, AMZN, what did it do? Exactly what the market did. It hit the 200 and stopped. Why? Maybe we're in a recession. You get rallies. Watch. You can have a down moving market. Down, down, down. Keeps going down. And inside of that down moving market, you'll have stages. So that was a stage 1, right? Runs up. Very short move. Stage 3. And then what? Breaks down. What? Stops at the previous low. So what do I assume? I assume it's going to, when it does break out, run up and stop where? The previous high. The problem is that one's not very big. So the moment that one's not very big, when I'm looking at charting, I'm like, oh shit, we're setting up for a long ass, you're going to have some whipsaws in there. That's what I'm expecting, which is what we're seeing. Then we start to run. But I know if we get above this, where are we going? To the 70 RSI, man. Look where his SPY stopped, right at 70. Puts in a box. Now, trading this like that, you saw the gap because the market gapped up, right? This is on Amazon. Earnings, I'm guessing. It's probably going to backfill this. That would be normal price movement. Price close, that's another whole nother conversation, closing in gaps. But where did it stop before? Right around in here. So if this thing goes stage 2, stage 3, goes into a stage 4, where do I expect it to stop? Well, right where it stopped before. That would be a target. I don't know it's going there. But then if I go through and check the other indicators, TSI rolled over, MACD crossed, Chastix came down. Now, does it have to go there? No. I'm just saying that's an obvious target of what you'll see with the money flow, where here's an example. Price broke down. Where did it stop? Right where it stopped before. See, it stopped and it stopped. And then it runs up, goes sideways, comes down. Where did it stop there? Right where it stopped before. Right? And then what? Just like it did to the upside, on this day here, what did it do? It broke it. Well, what's it doing over here? It broke it. Same movement. High tide, low tide, good and bad. It's just up or down. Market can really only go up or down or sideways, right? And that's what it's doing, man. And sometimes it'll do it so picture perfect, like you can take advantage of it. Like taking candy from a baby, man. Like it sets up, screams. You go look and you run it through and you're like, well, what's the value on this company? What is Amazon worth? Now, when they say worth, they mean today. They don't mean the expanding multiple. Here's something else that confuses newbies. But they changed it. Yeah, no shit. Market conditions changed. That price of cars changed based on market conditions. All of a sudden during COVID, what did you see? Used cars went up, man. They don't care when you bought your car. Like, that's another big hang up people get was when they bought something. Nobody cares. Stock doesn't care. Nobody in the news cares. That only means something to you, man. And you put a value behind it that's completely arbitrary because we don't give a shit where you bought it. Nobody does. But people make what they believe to be intelligent financial decisions based on when they bought something, which has nothing to do with current market conditions or the price or the value of the stock. And that's just weird. They say Amazon's worth $192. They didn't say it's worth this, but John bought it at this. So this, you get what I'm saying? And I repeat this so much because once you liberate yourself from what you did to what it just is, because you're always in the now, you can only play the candle they gave us today, right? So that's where we're at. Bringing up the past or something you did don't help anybody. It doesn't change the flow of the market, doesn't make your account grow. That's just baggage you're dragging. So look at this. Amazon, 28% discount, 192 fair value. It's way below value, man. So we know stage one setups here would make total logical sense from fundamental analysis point, right? People always ask me, did you do fundamental analysis? Yes. But we don't talk about it on YouTube because it's boring. I have no interest in teaching that. But yes, any stock I buy, I think fundamentally has a reason it could go higher. Not just charts, but I'm using the charts like a scope on a gun. Oh, wait, we're deer hunting? You're like, yeah, get a gun. Okay, cool, get some charts. Now what? Put a scope on it. That's what this is. You can buy stocks without charts. You don't need you don't need a scope to shoot a deer. You just shoot it. But this here starts to add tools to your thing. Makes sense of this big price movement. So if you just follow the news and you're like my friend, well, I'm not good with money. Okay, you be like that. Or you can just understand normal price movement. Stage one, right? It runs up. You're like, well, okay, stage three. Wow, that's a big stage four. You're able to read these little tools and then go take this stock and you're like, okay, it's trading on this side of the green line. That means it's in a downtrend. That means it's going down and it's going to keep going down until it stops, right? And you're like, okay, well, what does that mean? Meaning we could use these little dotted lines, 5-day exponential, 10-day exponential, the 20, and the configuration of price around them could give us a clue. We don't need to know why. It just is. And we know the stock can't go up unless it gets above that green line. Look, it's the only way. It's the only way it works. So we know that's not foolproof, but it is a signal. Man, oh man. So many lost sheep in the world. You carry a great responsibility once you've learned this. All you got to answer for yourself, and I can't answer it for you, is this. What do you do on this days? If we took this time frame down on Amazon, let's go to a 1-hour chart. Wow, it's pretty tight trading. Let's take that down even further. Let's go 15 minutes. Now we got some moves. You can begin to shrink the time frame, right? And you can begin to see down moves. Man, none of these look. Problem for me, whenever I'd get into these, I'd be ready to start covering them. I hate that chart, man. I don't know how you did that, Simon. This is barely a break. I mean, if anything, I would have done it from a daily chart because you got a break of the box on stage 3 here. But dude, it's still within the window. And prices stopped here before. If you look over. If it breaks that, it's a pretty good break. And then we're coming down into there. That's where it stopped before. And that's the principle of the money flow. Wherever price stopped before, it'll stop again. Maybe not permanently, but if you start to look at it, what do you start to see? The pattern of price. Sideways, up, sideways, and then what? Down. So what would that be? It'd be a stage 4 decline. Now, I can't call it because it doesn't happen that fast for me until price gets below this green line, like over here. You see, came down, and then what? Went sideways, and it built this box underneath the 20. What is that telling you? This is breaking down. This is breaking down. Now, what does that mean? Well, I mean, it depends on what you're doing. If you think the stock's worth $27 and you're like me and you're position trading, I'm not doing shit there. I might hedge it if you just really worried. Meaning I would keep my position because I think it's worth $27. But that's position trading. So I could have a position and then I could take a synthetic, I could buy a put to protect against it, right? And what am I looking to do? Cover it when it gets extreme. You could do that. You know, I mean, it's a lot of thinking, timing, calculating. You could do it. Or you could just go, okay, well, this is going down. Where do I expect it to go? Well, I figure it's going to stop right around where it stopped before, man. That's what it did. So then when it stops and sets up, I can look at it visually and go, okay, hold on. We're drawing the picture here. And as we go look on this week, July 14th, tons of these stocks were setting up. The S&P 500 was setting up. Let's pull, that's lumber. Let's pull up the S&P 500. Let's pull up the 14th. I think that's what I said, right? Yeah, right there. Now the SPY already gave us our breakout here on the 7th. So when I say the wind, I'm not looking for anyone's opinion, okay? What I'm looking for is where was the bottom. I'm looking for an anchor point, if you've taken any of my classes, and I backtrack it from this anchor point. Can I draw out just a basic stage movement? You're like, yeah. I mean, it's not pretty damn perfect, but not perfect. So now what? We're in the flow, right? See it? So what do I anticipate? Well, real quick, even without seeing all of this over here to the right, I could take my line and go, okay, that's going to be a future target. Just mentally. I don't need to be, maybe at first you're drawing it out. What are we looking for? We need 4 days to hold the anchor point. We can count the anchor day if you're aggressive. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I need price to be above the 5-day moving average. If I have this and the RSI had been extreme, that gives me belief to believe, and it wasn't extreme, but it was right there. And we talk about on the S&P and these big indexes, it doesn't usually go extreme very often. It gets right to it. So this tells me my window is I need to start looking at stocks for possible turnarounds and bottoms to catch a big move up. Maybe it is a rally in a bear market. Okay, whatever. I want to play those, man. And if I'm a trader, there's a lot of money to be made there. I don't know. We had tons of them. Not tons. We had several that did 100+%. Now, you'll hear me tell people, even if you're underwater in a stock, you could take some off, man, when you hit that RSI. What's that doing is giving you powder. Now you have money to trade with. And you're like, yeah, but I'm down. No, man. Let that shit come in. That could take 2 weeks, man. It could go sideways here for 3 weeks. In the meantime, you catch 2 trades. And so we can't let that hang you up. Now, if you have money and you don't need to sell it, then don't sell it. Like there's some that I'm not, like Uber. I have no intention of selling it. I'm trading it to $60. Okay? I always have a couple that I am completely convinced through the research, fundamental analysis, my gut, and just feel that this one's going to make me a ton of money. And I'm buying stage ones. I'm not committing everything to it. If I'm wrong, then I'm going to pay a price. Okay? If I'm wrong, I'll pay a price. But it's like wrong win. What's your window, man? My window's not 6 weeks, 6 months on that. If it takes 2 years, all right. If it takes 5 years, okay. I don't know how long it's going to take. But everything isn't in that. Okay? Inside of that move, we can have short-term trades. You could do, if you're into options, do that. You could have buy and hold. Like, we're not limited to one thing, man. And so I need to churn money. I need to get money so I can put it into trades, man. So as things move up, I'm going to take some down. Now go back to this ENVX for a second because it's such a good example. That one wasn't quite close enough. That might have got me right here. Because look, there's previous high, a little higher. And the RSI is not quite extreme. I probably wouldn't have took any off there. I mean, I don't think I did. We could go back and check the log. That's a rally. Could have made money. Comes back down. All right. I mean, where are you at emotionally? Think about this. Where are you at emotionally? If you have a belief that this is a $27 stock and it almost tags somewhere you could take some off and then it turns, a lot of people are looking to change their strategy. It's like, no, that's just normal movement of the money flow and I don't get to pick the fucking day or the time. And it might take a little longer than I thought when I'm position trading. And there could be black swan events and market things called chaos. And chaos is going to happen. Now, if I'm short-term trading it, that's a stage 4 decline. I'm out. And then what? It takes the next 2 weeks of coming down. So that's not complicated. If that's your plan, you can trade something like that. I'm out right here, man. Well, when it rips, what then? Maybe you miss it. So that's the risk you take, man. So you got to decide how you're going to play that. So if $27 is more the risk to me, meaning I want to hit $27, that's what I'm worried about. I'm not so much worried about pullbacks. That would change the nature of this trade. If a guy doesn't want to commit capital to a pullback, when he sees a stage 4 decline, which is defined as price put in a stage 3, put in an anchor point, went sideways for 4 days, and then breaks the box, right? That's the start of the stage 4 decline. Now, I look for confirmation with it closing below the 20-day moving average. Doesn't have to. And so if we're right here, do we have a highest high? And then go, do you have a filter? No, I don't have a filter for this, bro, except you looking at it. Okay, that's the filter. That's the highest high. Now we got to do the big math you learned in elementary school. 1, 2, 3, 4. And we're like, whoa, we kind of draw a box. Is price below the 5-day exponential moving average? Yeah. Same thing that was over here. Right? I mean, come on. Here's our lowest low. Can we see that visually? Yep. 1, 2, 3, 4. Is it above the 5-day exponential moving average? Yep, right there. That's stage 1. Do I have an RSI? Check, 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 check. And if I come down, look, momentum change, TSI cross. These are all going to be lined up. Chassis's coming out. 6-6. Chick, 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 chick. I got an undervalued stock, trading below 200. Way undervalued. And it appears to be setting up a stage 1. That's a buy signal for me as a trader. What I'm looking to sell it, me as a trader, it's not perfect. Nobody's strategy is. I'm looking to tag previous high and the RSI. Now this one got right to it. Right there. Didn't get it. People be like, but he didn't hit it. I know. Sometimes that happens. Look at Delta. It was so close. It's so close. It's so close that a guy might be tempted to, well, let's change the strategy. Because this one traumatic emotional event happened to me, Gerald. From now on, I'm going to pull the trigger a little bit earlier. You could do that. You could begin to shape your life by the ones that didn't work. That's a weird thing to do, but you could. That was my target. We got close. The game ain't over. Game ain't over. We might hold here. We might turn, make another run up. If we don't, sideways, up, sideways. And here's what I'll look, the box was broken. They'll say, but it didn't go down. I know, it's called the money flow. Remember the book? If it was perfect, we'd all be billionaires. That's my pattern, right? Now, I took anybody wanted to listen along for a ride on this. When you're in this, now's the time you go do your studying. Come over here. You read on the stock. You're like, how many employees does Delta have? You go look on the website. You come over here. Deep cut capacity due to worker shortages in the second quarter, but yields remain strong. Oh, that sounds good. No moat-related Delta Airlines posted continued pricing power as quarterly revenues topped 2019. Wait, are you saying it's making more money than it was before? Why? Because things go higher. Price of airline tickets, the price of land. Adjusted revenue, $12.3 billion, and adjusted earnings per share of $1.44 missed fact sheet consensus. Oh, did it not hit everyone's consensus? By 0.5% and 16.6% respectively. We are increasing our fair market value for Delta to $57 per share from $55. Even though the quarter didn't do good, they're making a lot of money. We're raising our value on the stock. $57. Where's the stock at now? I mean, how many of these you need to make some money, man? If you got 20 of these, I know people got 50 crypto coins. They don't know jack bean about Delta. Will put a fortune into a coin that makes no sense to them. That they were to be honest, they know nobody uses it. It's just a digital thing on a screen. There's no business using it. There's no actual application. Maybe in the future, but people are actually getting on this airplane. You can go get on it. Fly. They'll take you to an Airbnb and you'll have a great weekend. Uber will come pick you up. The number of people that own some weird coins that don't own Uber, it blows my mind. Now, what did Uber do? Broke the box. Right here. And a lot of sharp, intuitive people ask me, are you taking profits? No, bro. If I was doing that, we'd have done it over here. Right? Why? Previous high on the extreme. Yeah, it doesn't work on every play, but it works on a lot of them. Okay? And what does that do? It lets me add order to the chaos. And that's what this price movement does. But I don't control the price movement. I'm just in the picture of it. So I want to use it. So am I buying Uber right now? Hell no. No. GP buys it when it comes down. I'm looking for stage ones, okay? So I'm looking to buy these, okay? Ones. I'll buy all of them. Why? Because I'm playing for up here, man. Best thing that happened to me is it takes 2 years. Why? I can get like 60 G's in this. So if I'm right on this buys me a house, man. I'm not playing around. I'm not trying to make $500. I'm trying to make 50,000 if possible. Right? That takes time. And that you can't be the lady that looked at me and goes, "Oh, we're not good with money." Okay, well, I guess don't be. And I'm thinking, man, what if she gave her money to this? They'd have plenty of money. Very first thing I say in the money flow, I mean, this is a book about trading. I want to say at the beginning of this book that I believe buy and hold investing. I believe in the power of dividends to compound and build massive wealth over time. I own many stocks that I've owned for many years that I do not trade or sell. I just accumulate shares on stage ones. This book can help you do that. It can help you pinpoint the perfect buying opportunity. The majority of this will discuss trading, but don't limit the money flow trading system to just trading. Now, before I get off today, you guys are lucky people, man. We're lucky, man. Me too. Man, I'm blessed. Think about this, ladies. How long ago was it you couldn't own jack? You know how many people years ago couldn't own jack bean? And now with a click of a mouse, you're in the game, man. You could trade oil futures. You could trade wheat. You could trade the S&P 500. You could trade in. So last night I'm reading Barron's. You should read Barron's, man. Okay? You get a subscription to Barron's. And I'm reading in Barron's. You should read Barron's. But I'm reading in, and I already knew this, but it just point to think about. Warren Buffett's been buying the hell out of this stock, Ally Financial. Now, I'm not in it, but as I read that, CNBC Pro, so I pay a lot of subscription stuff. You don't do that. You got to start where you're at. And I read a lot. I try to read an hour, 2 hours a day of just financial information. Not necessarily make moves. I just need to be in the flow, like reading sports. John so-and-so hit a triple-double, blah, 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 broke this record, they tied this Chiefs move on to the play. I'm just trying to be in the flow. And as I'm looking at it, I'm like, wow, Buffett's buying a lot of that. He's also been buying a lot of oil stocks. Okay. So Buffett's buying oil stocks and he's buying, and you just sit and think on that. And you can't necessarily trade on that. We don't know why he's doing it. He's got so much money, he's got to do something with it. So You know, but he's the kind of guy who'll sit on cash too. He doesn't feel compelled necessarily to put it to work, man. So as I look at that, I'm like, where's this pays a dividend? Where's J.P. Morgan? Wow, these have really come down. Now let's say I don't have any banking stocks. These have been in nothing but a downtrend. Now, is it possible these could be broken? It's way below the 200-day moving average. We're getting a pullback right now. I wouldn't buy right now, not yet. But if I came over to here and I said, what is J.P. Morgan worth? Come on, man. $149. Not banging. 20% discount. Huh. Now, JP Morgan's the one that's been, I'm just talking about like if I'm reading and I'm just thinking this through. This doesn't necessarily mean I'm going to do anything with it, but I'm just thinking it through. Okay, it's one of America's largest banks. We could read through this and we could go read shit that JP Morgan or Jamie Dimon, who runs JP Morgan's been putting out. He's talking about like bad fucking times are coming. All right, well, let's be honest. He's a banker. So these guys aren't necessarily famous for their honesty, okay? So is it possible he puts out some nonsense and he's just trying to play both sides so that when the bank does well, he can be like, wow, yeah, we killed it. Like, I don't know. I don't know why he's saying what he's saying, okay? But I can't just buy it as, well, he's telling the truth. I don't know if you've ever met banks, okay? Financial institutions. They can do a lot of fooling around, okay? So as we look at that, but Buffett, he doesn't work there. He doesn't need to do that. Why is he buying banks? And then I can start to kind of formulate some things here. I can go look up some true values. I can begin to lay the money flow over these charts and maybe take some news and, well, who's the best regional bank? And maybe as we're looking at this, we're like, well, maybe it's a short-term play. Maybe I could go buy some leverage. I could pick up one of the triple leverage banking funds. And maybe as I look at this, I'm like, no, maybe the play on this is closed-end funds that invest in banks. And they get money and they leverage it. And I could get a 9, 10, 12% yield by owning a fund that invests in banks, but it leverages it. Okay, that's an option. And we just start thinking this through based on how much information we know and how much we're able to take in and how fast we can take in this ongoing feedback loop and process it in your mind. And you could begin to formulate things and think, I don't have any banking positions, but I'd like one. And I'd like to have a drip if I'm going to do it. So, and then you can start to narrow it down which bank is better. And you could spend, time because it's not a buy signal yet. Could be. If this holds, could be. Hope there's a replay. Go pull it up on YouTube, bro. I'll record every one of these on YouTube, man. And you see how we start to formulate around that. And it's not because a billionaire bought it. That was just one little piece. And it's not just because of the money flow and some technicals. That was just one little piece. And it's like an onion. And these pieces and where's price. And technicals have their own studies. Fundamentals have their own studies. And somehow you got to match this in with your life and open your eyes. Because you're going to see all kinds of stuff. There's all kinds of stocks at your house right now. There's all kinds of things you're using and moving around and walking. You're inside the money flow whether you want to be or not. So that chick that said to me, oh, I'm not good with money. Good. Give it to us. That's what I thought. That's terrible, right? See, when they say, well, I'm not good with money, that means you're giving it to us. You're like, who's us? The owners. The owners. And anybody can be in that group. Like this is open to anybody. A woman with a phone can start buying stocks, use her intelligence, use her predisposition. She's worked in the food service industry for 20-something years. Okay, well, what about any restaurant stocks? Look at cake. Look at cake. And you're like, yeah, you could be a lady. You were a waitress. Now you're a trader. So you learn this and apply it to your waitressing. You're like, well, What do you mean? Yeah, she knows about these stocks. Probably understands it more than she thinks when she reads it. And they're talking about price per plate and table and margins. Probably understands way more of that than she imagines. How many people come into a restaurant? So she could do a little fundamental research. She could get a subscription or two and tie it around that, right? Talking to a guy yesterday. Maybe you're on here, sir. Said he worked at Southern. And I said, how many shares you have? And he's like, oh, I just got a few. Jesus, dude. And his excuse to me was, oh, I'm trying to do other things. Okay. What other things are you doing? Not to say that it's not other things, but it's like, you can't commit some money to this, bro. Like, look at this shit. I've been screaming utilities every day. Like, this is one of the most important things you can trade because it's essential. This is not going to be outsourced by an app, guys. This runs the apps. Electricity. Like, it should be the cornerstone of anybody's investing. If you're in real estate, you know all about this. I mean, if you're a realtor, you don't know about utilities. Like, you are a human being who lived in an apartment. You don't know about utilities? Is this some kind of big kept secret? It's like, yeah, I'm not running. It's like, damn, dude. You're sitting on it, bro. Can't see it. And he's like, well, I'm putting all my money to something else. All of it? Really? When this is happening right there? You work there? Look at this, man. Look at this. Take this back. He's working on other things. He works there. It pays you money. This gives you money every month to own it. Look at this. And he's asking me money questions. It's like, bro, how long you been there? 7 years. Let's go. 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, 4 year, 5 year, 6 year, 7 year. What is that? $32. It pays you a dividend of 5%. 5% every quarter. Imagine you just had 5% of your income going into this for 7 years. And we get to hear people say, well, how could you have known? Dude, it's going to be 160. It's going to keep going. It's not a secret. Now, it's overpriced right now, and you see that whenever it bangs, it comes down. But it's like, my God, man. This is how close to the money flow you can be and not prosper from it. While people search for something. And this is happening right in front of them. So anytime this stock goes extreme, I just buy it. I've been doing that for over a decade. Right? I don't care the price. Doesn't matter what I bought it for before. Right? It's just an accumulation. Now, because I know that, because I believe in it, because I've witnessed it and done it every day for a decade, it makes trading this super easy. So, okay, now I want to trade this. This is the XLU. And each crash, you're like, what do you mean crash? Each big sell-off, I add to a different one. Okay, my Southern's pretty large now. It's my second largest holding. Next time I'm going to add to Edison. Next time to AP or NE or whichever ones you own. And this is how you end up with Coca-Cola and Pepsi. Well, inside of that movement, as you watch this, you know what a stage one looks like. You've been through it. You love sell-offs. You know how much easier that makes trading this? So what am I doing as a trader? Well, as an investor, I'm watching the utilities to come down. And I'm like, oh shit, gotta look for a trade. Lowest low. And I need 4 days that hold the lowest low, right? 4 bars, 1, 2, 3, 4. I need it above the 5-day. I mean, look at this. It's right out of the book, right? That's what I'm looking for. And what I'm hoping for is this over here. Nice big run, okay, as a trader. Now, what if it doesn't do the big run? Didn't do it over here. What did I do? I just wait. Did I or did I not? I didn't sell it. I don't need to sell it. It's not going to zero, dude. This is going to give me a chance to set this up for a bigger trade, man. So I'm able to double this now. And how much lower did it really go? Not that far. For a minute, it went down. People are like, oh, I'm so far down. No, I'm buying, man. I'm buying, bro. Why? So that I can make some legit money. Now, I picked this trade up in my IRA. That's kind of nice because now I'm scaling out of it. Why? It's a triple leverage fund. I don't want to hold it. I'm holding SO, Duke, NE, so UTSL. Guess what? Inside of like a buy and hold account, if I've got some cash, I could take this as a trade. And I turned, I added over here in the 38. I added some more again in the 30. It's not going to zero. It's one of my largest holdings inside of my buy and hold. Let it rip. Now what? Take it off. And I made some money inside of there. That's alpha. That's not part of dividends. It's not part of the average movement of the market. I made that happen with my intuition, trading skill, and observations by watching it every day. And so I make $4,000 on this trade. That's $4,000 inside a tax sheltered account that wasn't there. You get what I'm saying? So now what? I can trim that out. What could I do with it now? Well, some of it I'm going to keep for another trade probably. But look at Verizon. Verizon's a stage 1, trading at $44. The dividend's higher than on the thing that I'm selling. So if I go look, what's Verizon worth? Now this is trading inside of a portfolio though, man. What is this? Trading around positions. What's the discount? 25%. What's the discount for Southern, which will give you the overall of all utilities? Oh my God. Southern's at a 21% premium. It's overvalued, guys. A utility stock. But that's not Bitcoin, Gerald. That's not Shiba coin. I know. Look at the money you can make in utility stocks. So it's RSI 70. It's at $80. What does the money flow call this? Now we're looking for what? Stage 3. We're looking for our anchor point. For what? The top. And where's the top coming? At fair value. So what is that? That's the money flow. Now another guy may go, "Well, get all out of it." No. They pay me money. So I have hundreds and hundreds of shares. They're paying me money. Drip, 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 drip. I'm looking to buy on stage 1s. I might trim some on stage 3s, but I don't want to do that this time. So what I did is I took a trade inside of UTSL. So I already had some UTSL going in my trading account, or my trading account. But when it fell that second time, and it comes redonky-donk low, okay? If you study these, if you watch utility stocks, if you understand the stock market and you're watching the overall, and you're like, where did it stop before? And you understand the money flow, you're like, okay, I'm going to expect price to bounce off this. And then it does it. And we understand the money, the MACD, the breakout of there, and we understand the price pattern. What is this set up for? A nice trade, man. Nice trade. Boom. Get leveraged. We run this. Make yourself 3-4 grand in your buy and hold. And now what? Take it off. It ain't no big deal. The trade won. It's over. I still have it going in the trading account. Now I'm taking it off over here. And that's just understanding the movement of markets, man. They move up, they move down. They're like, why? I don't know. Why is it trading at a 20%? Don't care. Really don't matter. Now I'm going to go read and figure out why. And it's obviously people are seeking shelter and they need cash flow. And there's nothing more secure cash flow than utility stocks. Everyone needs electricity. So, duh. But it's not duh. There's not a lot of people down there that own that. Most of your friends do not own utility stocks. The people that work there don't even own them. It's strangers, rich people all over America, rich families. They're like, let's put a mill in Southern. What about Duke? Let's put a couple 100,000 over there. That'll give us some money, right? That's the families doing that. The worker bees, the old chums that work there, they're not buying this shit. They're giving all their money to the corporations, man. Car payments, this and that. They're giving it all away. They're not buying the company. You ever go read Science of Getting Rich? It's a book I tell people to read for free. It's free. Read it. There's a link on my bio. It's called Science of Getting Rich. Inside of that chapter, inside of that book, there's a chapter, and it's talking about in the old days, so you have to update it in your mind. It's talking about the railroads and buying a farm. Well, shit, that's like starting a business and investing in Google, right? Like starting your own farm back in the day was like starting a business. So, investing in the new railroads was like buying Google or whatever. You get what I'm saying? Like it's the same. It's just things are different, but it's the same, right? Same thing. Same people owned everything. Everyone else worked for them. Same. Nothing's changed. Okay, the numbers, the ratios may be a little different now. There's more opportunity. Women can get involved now. Minorities can get involved, right? There's nothing, like it's a total open, nobody has it closed out. Nobody can stop me from being in a trailer park. I have no degree. I'm not a stockbroker, but I can have $1 million in the stock market because I chose to. And I don't have a real estate license and I can buy properties. I don't need anybody's permission to do anything. I can come on here and post on YouTube. It's free. Nobody can stop me from doing nothing. That's the world we live in. So everybody that's not participating, they just like, oh, let me see how broke I can be. Like they're choosing that, man. Someday we got to wake up. That's what this is about. And this adds order to that movement of chaos. And this is your signal, man. Bam. Bam. Now it's setting up. Does it work every time? No. And how my belief in the asset, my belief in the system, my belief in the overall, a guy's been doing it 10 years is going to have more courage and different belief system than a guy who started 6 months ago. Someone who's still hung up on the balance and there's so many hang-ups and it takes time. It takes time, man. It takes time. Get on this. Get on this and ask yourself, am I trying to be too fancy and I'm missing the basics? The basics, man. Like the basic stocks. The one I work at. We recently caught a breakout in Exxon. It's kind of getting there, right? But we have a bunch of Exxon, so I'm trading it through a leveraged fund, right? As a trade. I mean, I'm going to close this out and take that money and go do another trade. And yet I own Exxon. And that gives me an advantage. I didn't need to find it with a filter. I own it every day. And so I'm in the flow of this stock, man. You know, and I'm taking in news related to it. Right? And it's like, okay, up or down. We're going to play the hand, up or down, man. If it goes down too much, I got to cover the trade, but I hold the buy and hold. If it goes up, I get to take profits. I still hold the buy and hold. You know, I'd have trimmed some Exxon because I bought so much of it lower, but now I'm good. It's just what it is, it is. So this is not much of a play for me other than the little trade that I have going, right? And then, so as you see, as you begin to look at your portfolio, laying over the money flow with the chaos that success is chaos. It's organized chaos, and that we don't know tomorrow. We don't know the tweets, and it's going to start tonight at about 5 o'clock, man. Man, I hope that helps. I appreciate everybody that came on. You can catch a replay of this over at YouTube, man.